Do not reconcile with them and don't believe a word that they say. We've got Váli, and Váli was born with the sole responsibility, I suppose, purpose of avenging Baldur. Um, Grew to an adult in one day to one go after Baldur's brother, Hoder, who actually pierced Baldur with the mistletoe dart, and also to trap Loki until Ragnarok. And the subtext on this card is reconciliation. I know that's kind of a strong opener, but I don't know, if you've been on the channel for any length of time, you may have noticed that I don't advocate for returning to the past. Maybe that's a byproduct of me living with PTSD and complex PTSD, disorders that involuntarily time travel me back to the worst parts of my life at any given moment. So I more, I guess, look to the future. But also, I place a lot of importance on peace. And your past can just keep you in a cycle, keep you carrying the original purpose that you were born for, or according to them, just carrying these burdens that were never your own, that other people decided what was meant for your life. But the reason that I say don't believe anything coming out of their mouth, I got Neptune, 12th house, and Pisces. So illusion, 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 just across the board. I would not be trusting of things coming forward. Now, that doesn't mean to be paranoid or suspicious, but like healthy skepticism, especially if it involves signing anything or anybody suddenly returning from the past. Say you separated for whatever reason it was, but to protect your peace. And now they're trying to return, saying that they've learned their lessons, they've done the work, and they're ready to reconcile. If they've truly been doing the work, they may not reach out at all. Somebody who has achieved emotional maturity and is truly reflective on this situation would have, or would hope, would have the capacity to recognize what an interruption their presence could be in your life, and have respect for the fact that you have parted ways. That it, as cold as it may come across, it's like, okay, you've learned your lesson, better luck next time. Carry it into the future with you. And if you messed up a once in a lifetime type of relationship, one that you don't get do-overs on, that's a hard lesson that they have to work through. You might have your own things to work through on that as well. So let's see, let's get an animal card out here, get a little more. What might this person, or whomever it is, be coming forward about? Elephant? An elephant never forgets. Maybe it's a carryover from the last reading, that there was some sort of overbearing system that you've extracted yourself from. Could be a family system, a relationship, maybe it's an old job surfacing, something like that. But why would you go back? Why wouldn't you take your chances in the unknown? Because you already know what's behind you. You already know what you decided to leave. and hang on to your reasoning for that. So we'll get some runes out here too. So tell me more. What are we not forgetting? Haggalas? Destruction. Hail. Like, hailstones. Disturbances. Rune of the air. Of the forces of chaos and the elements. Promise of renewal. Victory and cosmic harmony. So remembering that the destruction of the past. There goes the clock. And it could be fairly volatile. I mean, thunderstorms with hail, sometimes those include tornadoes. Can be pretty bad. And I think down under, I think they get hail with spikes. That's a lot. But a lot of intensity. Maybe they're trying to write off things that were actually abusive as passionate. There's no excuse. So let's get a little bit more out. And I wanted to bring up the nightmare that I had last night, because it was pretty intense. I haven't had one like that in a while. And it's actually why I'm doing another reading so soon to the last one. But it was this call center. I don't exactly remember what the context was, like why I was in this call center. But it reminds me of how I envision these compounds. Like there's, on the border of Myanmar and Thailand, there's these compounds where scamming, like financial scamming, is conducted, but it's victims victimizing victims. People who are being coerced, forced into scamming others. And it's a pretty vicious cycle. But I remember walking behind one of the desks, and my information was on the computer. But it was my information, like my HR records for my day job. It had the name of like the HR person that I deal with for my medical stuff. And I thought that was strange, but then I kind of started to get swarmed by workers there, and it was kind of a clamoring. Like, we didn't know, we didn't mean to, and like all the voices started to get muddled together. And so I went into a different part of this call center, and it like got progressively darker really fast. But it turned into like a house, so maybe there was housing at this place too. But not great conditions. It was like a den where people do substances, things like that. And I don't remember the context, but all I remember is going over to this one part, seeing someone on the ground who I think was still with us, but there was an empty bookshelf to my right, and there were some little puppies right in front of me, but they were like fighting, and they could only have been like a few weeks old. It looks like their eyes hadn't been open for very long. And I remember a couple people behind me, a man and a woman, but something felt off about them. Like guardians of a sort or something. The really distinct part about this dream, though, was at the very end. And it was this blood-curdling scream from a woman. And it's the type of scream that you almost wonder, like, is that me or is that somebody else? If you've ever had one of those moments like that. But I think it was somebody else behind me. I couldn't see what was going on. It's like I was being shielded from it by those two people and the bookshelf. But the degree of this scream, it was like a woman had walked in on the murder scene of her child or her spouse or something. It's like the worst scream you could have ever screamed. And by that point in the dream, I was trying to surface. And so I was getting mixed information, both like from my environment and from the dream. And I woke up in terror. And that hasn't happened in some time, thankfully. It's a significant improvement from the past. So I'm not sure exactly how that all fits, because, I mean, Balder, I think it was Frigg, who was trying to defy fate by not letting him pass away, or trying to get the agreements of all the creatures and all the plants and all everything to not help aid his passing. I'm just going to take the bottom one. That's a lot. And it was only mistletoe that she didn't get agreement from because she underestimated mistletoe. I think maybe underestimated Loki. But we have Six of Cups in reverse. Yeah, this is not a soulmate. Whoever this is, because it could be platonic, it could be romantic. This ain't it. Whatever is going on, don't go backwards. Like, you have to make your own decisions for your own situation, but if that was the question in mind, and the opener you got hit with was, don't reconcile with them, don't go back to them, and don't believe anything that they say, here's your sign. So what about this Six of Cups? What is going on? This is destructive. Don't forget, no second chances. Don't even respond to this person. Don't even get entangled in any kind of exchange. Because 12th house, Neptune, and Pisces, that's a lot. Five of Swords in reverse. Yeah, avoid the conflict. Just stay out of it. Just stay away. I really genuinely dislike the term for this behavior, but it's battered woman syndrome, referencing the 7 times-ish that it takes to leave an abusive relationship. Referencing, the strength of trauma bonding, the chemical addiction that gets created in your brain by the highs and lows of a volatile relationship. And if you have made it out, stay out. Maybe you're in a situation where there's a kid involved, Six of Cups references kiddos. Limit it to exactly what is in the agreement. And say maybe you have got full custody or something, and they're trying to come back, I miss my kid so much, like this, and that, and you don't have to be unsympathetic to that. You also don't have to entertain it. Boundaries. That there are just so many horror stories that they're just waiting for an opportunity. When somebody is really, truly in their heart violent, they're just waiting for an opportunity. No chances. Don't give them any chances with your kid, with you, with your pet, with your plants, anything. Cannot be careful enough. And they might use that as fodder to guilt trip or do the sympathy plea from everybody around them, leave out the context of what happened between you two, and then just paint you the villain. I'd rather be an alive villain than an unalived victim, and people finally believe me, you know, after I'm in a body bag. Just saying. The Devil in reverse. Man, a lot of reversed energy. Just, no, no, no. None of this. And that looks like Loki. Tricks. Tricksters. And I've been seeing a spider on my door today. That's a sign of Loki. Yeah, don't believe anything that they say. Because tricksters can come across very sincere. Maybe check out that archetype. Maybe learn a little bit more. I'm sure the, what's it called? This Jungian Life? They probably have one on tricksters. I'd be really surprised if they didn't. I just saw they've got a new episode out about the Odyssey. It's a movie's coming out. Need to listen to that. But it's just, I cannot emphasize enough. Do not forget all of this destruction that they wrought in your life. Not even for a second. And I mean, if you've won custody, there's not going to be any drop-offs or anything. But if they're showing up when they know they're supposed to say, stay away, log it, get a Ring camera. If you're worried about your Ring camera being stolen, have a spare on hand if you can swing it so you can replace it immediately. Have those things backed up to a cloud, something like that. Just cannot be careful enough in DV. And before there is an issue, make sure you know your local domestic violence resources. Because that doesn't just have to be a romantic relationship. This can also be family, too. That counts in the domestic part. So, tell me more about this devil, this trickster. It's interesting that Loki came up since he's directly involved in Váli's story. And Loki, the way that he was imprisoned was pretty brutal, very Norse. It was by with the entrails of his son, and then venom from a snake, like, dripping onto his head to imprison him. Oh, that was an almost. I saw it jump. A little fish. Oh. There we go. Earthworm. Humble but mighty. Unassuming. It came out reversed. I think people really underestimate the importance of earthworms in our ecosystem. Aerating the soil, churning it, help fertilizing it. But in reverse, as related to a trickster, they might be trying to downplay themselves, trying to re-affix a mask. And wherever Neptune is in your chart with that Barbeau's basket from the last long form reading that we were talking about, however that's showing up in your chart might be important, or your 12th house or Pisces. So what about this earthworm? What's trying to fly under the radar? And since I did mention cloud, make sure, go over that nothing is being shared. Just double check. Because a lot of that stuff can really easily slip people by. And you don't want somebody you've gotten out of your life to regain access. Something that I noticed when I escaped domestic violence, my Xbox account was a big one. That's something that I needed to change immediately. I can't even remember how I noticed. I don't think anything was actually bought on it, but I think I got some emails that it was like, oh, I need to change that. But Kanaz, the creative flame, convalescence? I don't know what that means. The opening, the mystery of regeneration through death. Earthworms are very regenerative. It is the rune of the artist, the craftsman, and the magician. So manipulative. Crafty. Trying to have that magician energy fly under the radar. Maybe they are trying something new that they haven't tried before. Because I mentioned in that last reading that it'll be the same playbook over and over and over again. So maybe they are trying something different. But all you really need to know for your purposes is you got this person out of your life. Keep them out. And if you are a recovering people pleaser, it can be really triggering to not have your side recognized. Seeing how many people won't even attempt to get your side and they'll just go with whatever the other person says. Might want to maybe reflect a bit on being the villain and what that means. Because that was a big thing for me, getting okay with being the villain regardless of what I do. That I could do things absolutely perfectly. I could be the most polite person, self-abandoned, make sure everybody else was taken care of, and I'd still be the villain. Because I stood up for myself. It's just, unfortunately, the way things go. And as hard as it is, because I don't want to be dismissive of how difficult these situations are, you might be getting the opportunity to be seeing some true colors of people who didn't validate your side, who didn't even check in. Just, first thing they heard, abandoned the ability to reason. And that doesn't feel good when that happens. And that could be another door to the past you want to keep closed. Because how do you even begin to rebuild that broken trust? Because when it was he said, she said, or whatever the case may be, they took the other side. But now that the results are in, they just want to be like, oh, hey, here, I'm back. My bad. My bad that we ostracized you. You know, completely left you alone when you needed people the most. When you needed to be believed. Whoops. Stay out of my life. Don't. That's what that block button is for. I went through the great blockening of 2024, and I don't regret it. Because I gained a great deal of peace. As difficult as it was, peace came after that. So we've got the King of Wands and the Eight of Swords in reverse. Starting to turn in a more positive direction, because the Eight of Swords, that's the like bondage card, being in bindings and trapped. And normally they're blindfolded, but this person is eyes wide open. They can see all the swords around him. This is like actually acknowledging when someone says they're trapped, that they are in fact trapped. But it's in reverse. Escaping the trap. And the King of Wands, in reverse, Kanaz, that creative flame. This might be actually you stepping into your shadow side. You can also kind of view that as stepping out of your yin and into your yang. The side that people might not appreciate as much, but it keeps boundaries up. This will be the sort of thing where guilt tripping might come up. Like, oh, can't you just let go of the past and whatnot? Like, no, because I have post-traumatic stress disorder. It won't let go of me forever because of what I've been through, what I've been put through, because of other people's free will. Abuse is an active choice. You have to go against the flow in order to do that. The neutral choice is to not abuse. And maybe they don't like being called out. Neat. I don't like being abused. Get bent. I don't care about your feelings. And maybe they'll be like all huffy about it, like, oh, you don't care? No, I don't. Why would I? That's the being actively traumatized part. I'm living in post-trauma. Trying to stay in post, not active. And if anybody in your life doesn't appreciate, respect, understand, etc. ad nauseum, that you are trying to move past trauma, that you are trying to move past the past, they can go not understand over there. Because the most important thing for you, and if you have your own family, if you got custody, you've got pets, you've got your own new social circle that you're trying to build, it's so vitally important for your nervous system that those seeds get to take root, that you get to plant peaceful seeds, and that you act as that warrior in a garden that knows how to step up in the moment, even though you're not trying to live that life anymore. Not trying to live every single day at war, because it's stressful. But what about this Eight of Swords, King of Wands? Oh, there we go. It's a tear. Seven of Pentacles. Patience. But it was reversed. Out of patience. You don't have to be patient with the past. You've been over this already with them. One of the common traps where they might try to snare you in is the never enough game. You will never be able to provide a good enough explanation to someone who isn't ready to face themselves and their abusive ways. That's in any context. Whether it's a partner, friends who like to gossip about you behind your back, I don't know, just a workplace that's being crummy to you, anything like that. If you start to make concessions with people who have demonstrated that they're abusive, toxic, or just not on your team. They're really not coming to the table with collaborative action. Maybe collaborative words like yep, 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 you know, whatever. But they're not actually following through. Then that's where you start to lose yourself again. And that cost is just too high for me, the way that I look at things. Even with connections that we just grew apart, but they're from a part of my life that I must move beyond. And it's not like they did anything wrong. And it's okay to grow. It's okay to move on, move forward with your life. And I think any even-keeled person would probably at least be able to grasp a little bit that, like, avoidance is part of trauma. And you have to manage that as you manage it. It's not about the shoulds, the you're supposed to's. You do how you do to get through that day. And hopefully the scope will eventually become longer than that and be oh so gentle with yourself when you are dealing with trauma, when your scope needs to be just that day. Completely fine. If the only thing you can do that day to get through that day is collapse, have a you day, do that. Don't let people shame you about how you're handling things they've never been through. Or they weren't around for the work until the results were in. Like until after the danger had passed. But what might you be losing your patience about? I hear the squawking outside. There's a magpie out there. Let's take the bottom one. Oh, crow. Speaking of. The corvid family might be of importance to you. Like any corvid to me has a potential to be a sign from the Morrigan. Sometimes a magpie is a magpie that is looking for the occasional peanut that I leave outside. And in shell unsalted, my little soapbox. They don't need people food. And if they're showing up at the same time every day, they're counting on you too much. Let them forage for themselves. But maybe you're trying to build a relationship with the environment around you. Just your local wildlife. It's important that they get to stay wild, you know. And knowing how to engage with them in a way that's healthy for them, if that's part of your practice. Which I think is pretty common for anybody doing witchcraft and such. So what about this crow? But that's what you're losing patience about? Oh, maybe you're reinvigorating a practice or exploring a new practice or something like that. And that could be another, like, manipulation technique. Like, oh, we're just worried that you're exploring witchcraft. Okay, Puritan. What is the issue? Is it because you don't want to practice? If so, don't. You don't have to. I'm not asking you to. Because that could be anybody that you might be like on the rocks with. Degas. And this actually is a symmetrical rune. There's no reverse, but the card came out reversed. The day, transformation, rune of the dawn of the light, which dominates the shade. It represents the transformation. And it also, like, it reminds me of the Black Widow symbol. But it coming out reversed, even though there's no reversed meaning, it's like trying to convince you that something that isn't bad is bad. Because this is the rune of the sun, of the dawn. It's like a false concern. Because, like, would they be worried about you if you were going to church? Is it just the witchcraft that's the problem? That's discrimination. And it's completely okay to call people out on that. Because you don't need to be attached to a church to have faith, to have a faith practice. Like, I'm ordained with the Universal Life Church. I'm an omnist. They are the most ideologically aligned to how I think. And I don't know, I see it as an opportunity to ensure that my First Amendment rights are protected, you know, here in the States. Because even though I believe that you shouldn't have to be attached to an institution, the institutions don't necessarily see it that way and will use any sort of play or ploy to, like, diminish earnest beliefs, things like that. That maybe that was a strategy in some sort of legal battle. And maybe you lost patience with that. It's like, look, mind your business. First Amendment, item number 1, read it. And then leave me alone. And people do not know how to stay in their lane. They really, really don't. So what about Dagoz? Kind of barfed all over here a little bit. I'm going to start over. It's like not wanting that strategy to be seen. Kind of like confusion, occlusion. Ah. It's the witch. Let's do a more shuffly shuffle. Mix them up. But maybe someone is taking specific issue with it's witchcraft. So what? Do you take issues with monks? Do you take issue with priests? With pastors? With Buddhists? Like, what's the acceptable ones? Is 3? 'Tis the world. Completion. Oh, and there's Hagalaz on their chest. 7 of Wands. It's giving wizard and strength. That's a much nicer strength card than they usually are. They look at peace together rather than somebody trying to wrangle a lion by its jaws. And it almost... Oh, who was it with the stone tablets? Was that Moses? The 10 Commandments? I think so. But it's giving me that. Like up on the ridge. The voice of God holding position and Seven of Wands, that is my be still and know that I am God card. Is this like a miracle? That would be cool. I think all of us could use a miracle right now. It's a little rough out there. But maybe the strength that this whole thing has helped you develop is balance with your shadow. That true, like, Two of Pentacles energy is that yin and yang. And maybe it's bringing some sort of volatility to an end. Some sort of miraculous demonstration of strength. Because they look kind of like they're shielding themselves down there at the bottom. It's that, like, I have had enough. And I don't know, like a thunder boom happens as the punctuation on your sentence, something like that. Something cool. But maybe whomever you're dealing with is so stubborn, it is going to take an act of God or goddess. Depending on what your practice is. Or just something to really show this person you're done. I can't help but notice the little fairies here. Which is really not what the Aishi, the Fae, look like. They look like us, not like Tinkerbell, but maybe that's part of your practice too. You could be exploring your heritage. Maybe, because Norse would be, is it German? Because I know it clashed at one point with, Irish, but it was mostly the Saxons that they were clashing with. Is that right? I think that's right. Might be mixing up terms. So what is this act of God? Something that finally gets through to somebody. Should go back and re-download Assassin's Creed Valhalla so I can brush up on my history. I'm going with the bottom one. Unicorn in reverse. Oh, that they're not special. That might be an ego death for this other person or persons that you're dealing with. Maybe facing for the first time in their life that they're not in control, which can be an escalation. Boundaries. Can't say it enough. So facing that they're not special. Because I think it was a few readings ago, I brought up that unicorn as a metaphor for one of a kind, whatnot, that's actually not the right example. It's Pegasus. Because there was only one Pegasus, and born of Medusa when she fell to Perseus. And wasn't there, what was it, Big Bang Theory? Sheldon? Somebody called him 1 in a million, and he was like, actually, that's like 7,000, blah, blah, blah. Like, however many. It's like correcting this person that they don't control the world, your world, any world. They need to control themselves, their world. But it's not your responsibility to tell them that. It's your responsibility to stick by your boundaries. They're grown. They can figure it out. Perthu. Don't know if I'm saying that right. Pertho? Fate, discovery. Rune of the home, of initiation to hidden secrets. It evokes celebration, games, laughter, and domestic happiness. And this is, I think the symbol here, the rune, it's supposed to be like a dice cup. And it would be like the gamble, rolling the dice. Maybe that's how this person makes you feel. Like you have to roll the dice with them. Maybe that's just how volatile that they are. So maybe this is a word of warning that when their ego gets shut down, which you probably already know, dealing with this persons, that if they don't get their way, then they turn into a tyrant. And maybe they're using some sort of power advantage, physical or otherwise. That clock started chiming right there. So power advantage when their ego isn't assuaged. And the act of God is that this has never happened before. Maybe you're the first person to successfully put your foot down. Oh. I just like connected a dot to that nightmare. Certainly don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but if we take it as a metaphor, like, have they ended things in the past for people that didn't, like, bow down to them? Whether it was jobs or money of some sort, just making your life a living hell. Stopping the forward motion, whatever it is you are going for. And maybe under some kind of illusion, Neptune, Pisces, 12th house. Because how do I put this? The thing people don't seem to be able to recognize is when somebody's in the background, they've got your name in their mouth, probably pretty frequently. If you are displaying, which you probably are, or were, depending on where you are in the timeline, signs of unhappiness, just in any degree, or maybe you've been saying that you want to find a new job, you want to move to a different place, this, that, or the other, and you're kind of constantly cycling through ideas without results. Nobody's really making the connection that this person could be interfering with that. It's coercive control, like 101. That your movement, your progress, your life will be restricted if you don't assuage Master of the Universe over here, who thinks they're entitled to controlling someone who's just trying to exercise their agency. And yeah, it doesn't feel good to get broken up with, or if somebody doesn't want to spend time with you anymore for whatever reason in any context. And if you do anything to interfere with that. They're being falsely imprisoned. Because there's still a lot of old attitudes out there of like having to, or thinking it's an okay thing to do to control women or to control another person, like a child in an overbearing family, something like that, for their best interests. Like, you're traumatizing that person is what you're doing. That's not in their best interest, no matter which way you cut it. The Star. It's quite the battle on that card. Star power. And that's Lagos on their chest. Water, intuition. Like, you are trying to actualize, and you're having to fight a massive battle against whatever this is. I mean, this is Jormungandr, the world snake, which might have been the snake that was like dripping venom onto Loki's head. Maybe. I think Jormungandr might have actually been Loki's child, potentially. And this could be maybe the act of God is you achieving your star status, whatever that is. You know, we brought up various examples in the last reading. It doesn't have to be big fame, fortune, all that. It's whatever your Aquarian quality is, what makes you exceptionally unique. And having an opportunity to enhance that. The Lovers and 10 of Pentacles, but the Lovers is in reverse. And it looks like they are covered, yes. But he's got Gebo on his chest. The X, that's the rune of the gift. And she looks kind of ghostly back there. Maybe you are putting romance on the back burner right now to focus on self-actualizing, which makes sense to me. If you've gone through something particularly difficult, especially if you've had like the childhood trauma and haven't had an opportunity truly to self-actualize, to individuate, because it might be that you got conditioned by your upbringing to go repeat those patterns, and now you want to focus on you. And you want to fully individuate before getting involved in something new. Totally fair. Which could lead to the 10 of Pentacles. That's that generational wealth. Whatever your material, ultimate material happiness is. Which doesn't necessarily have to include a lover. If you want, definitely. But it's more reaching that point, almost like that crone era of I'm good on my own. Maybe the idea, the notion of a relationship is something you want. And you're also okay without it. It's not like the make or break of your life. Like, it's decentralizing this kind of feverish pursuit that we have towards relationships. Like, I don't know. I've always wondered why that's never been a major focus for me. Like, I think the kids are calling it demisexual. Like, if I'm not interested in someone, I kind of could give to-ish, right? Like, I just kind of do my own thing. But then when I'm interested in somebody, then I will start paying attention to what other people are doing. It's just, I've never been one to, like, go on the prowl. Anytime I've tried, it's always felt hollow, and I can't stand apps. And I guess I'm just that type of person that I go with the flow, I suppose. I've also found the term sapiosexual, attracted to somebody's mind. Because if that isn't present, it's like it doesn't even register, it's just flatline. And so maybe you're re-exploring what you actually want in life, not just what you're told that we're supposed to pursue, that we're supposed to go after, because who the F are they to say that? Puritans? People who discriminate against faith practices? That's not an opinion I value. Why would I put any stock in that when it comes to my decision-making process? And there's so much societal pressures that we go through until we really have a chance to break away from that, like the 12th house, Neptune, Pisces, all that, and really hear our own voice. And really tune into ourselves. We can just kind of be asleep at the wheel, pursuing things that don't make us happy, that we were persuaded to like the latest fashion trend or the latest this, that, or the other, that it really just goes on the shelf after however long. Like, it doesn't hold your attention, or maybe it's not even of terribly good quality and you end up having to replace the thing over and over and over. So wasteful of materials. I'm that type of person that is painfully practical, and there's been periods in my life where I definitely succumb to like the fast fashion and getting caught up with that. And now I'm like, if it won't outlast me, I'm not interested. You know, that doesn't necessarily work so much for clothes. But I would get so much more excited over some unique, weird thing from somebody's basement that hasn't seen sunlight in 20 years at a thrift store that nobody else is going to have, than just get this like cookie cutter off the rack. Like, why? It's creating a massive amount of pollution. I want the weird stuff that's going to waste. You know? So maybe you're reconnecting with what you truly value. What was that one? Oh, that's a good one. Pet Cemetery. Both a very good book and movie. And song, too, also. Book, movie, song. Is that the Ramones? Pretty sure. So maybe putting your feet up. However this plays out, if you want to read, watch, listen, maybe do the audiobook too. And I saw something recently, because there's been this debate I hear from time to time about if audiobooks count as reading. I obviously count it as reading, living with brain stuff, but other people can get really like ableist about it. Some people do have legitimate questions though, like does it follow the same neural pathways? And according to, I think it was Dr. Rachel Barr, it depends. It depends on if it's fiction, then you get about the same amount of comprehension and retention if it's fiction, but if it's like a technical something or other, that's more for eyeball reading. Don't know where that leaves people with disabilities and such, but who knows? So maybe an answer to a long-held debate, long-held curiosity is somewhere in this process for you. And that curiosity just could be, who am I? Who are you when you're free of burden? When you're free to explore the self, to release oneself from the role that has been assigned to you. So, overall, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates, and if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.